So a few information. Yelta was born in Istanbul in 1986. He defines himself as an architect and a writer. Lives between Turkey and Germany, mostly in Germany. Currently, he lives in Berlin. And he graduated from Yıldız Technical University with a bachelor degree in architecture. He has kept continuing his academic studies for a master degree, and he's currently working on his PhD project. He is one of the partners of Kotu Studio, which is an Istanbul and New York-based interdisciplinary design practice dedicated to research and design on a variety of subjects. In 2011, he co-founded the group named as Herkes için Mimarlık. It's a non-profit organization interested in research, architectural research, for in the identification of solutions, not social problems, identifiable in contemporary Turkey. This organization is actually a very large organization, and it's interested in economical, political, and social dynamics of places. And the idea is to contribute to the creation of sustainable communities through implementation of design proposals.
First of all, I would like to thank you, for the invitation. It's also, such a nice opportunity for me to share, the projects, what I was doing in the last years, especially also Venice. Today I'm gonna share with you. Also I try to keep it a bit funny for this morning session to make it more catchy for the students. I'm gonna start with my story in architecture from my studentship, and also, as you mentioned, I wear many different hats, and I will try to show most of them as far as I can. But yes, this is, you did the introduction very well. Actually, nowadays I live in Berlin, but also practicing in Istanbul. I'm working as a researcher. The Topological Atlas project is hosted by Delft University, and on the other hand, I'm also lecturing in Berlin International University. When Sergio asked me about the title of the presentation, I'm in the last years I'm tending to say, instead of architecture, like spatial design or spatial investigations, and I named this presentation in blurry lines because my practice is just adapting in different conditions with different spatial interventions. First, I want to start. This is a collage of me from the I was in high school. I was so ambitious about architecture. I was reading, this Archigram, the Plugin City, and I was trying to do some collages. Actually, at that time, also, I wanted to study visual communication design, but then I said, okay, architecture should be a good way for me to continue. But then, when I started my study, this is my situation in the school. It was so hard. I couldn't, I had a lot of problems with the architecture. It's not the term of the architecture, but doing of architecture. It's since the student time, I'm always thinking, okay, there should be another way to make it architecture and adapt it in different conditions. And of course, this is also one of the things. I'm also getting critic from my professors all the time. They were saying to me, this is not an architectural project, it's not an architectural approach, and then I started to mocking up, and I did this sticker series and just placing around the faculty. This is not an architectural project. This one is Mimar Sinan. That's the sculpture. But then there's all the studies. I know how suffer in architecture, but on the other hand, I love it, and that's why I know this joking thing. It's a kind of sarcastic intervention from myself, I started to another ironic stickers like from high school ways. Just my lovely course. I mean, I just tried to choose the most suffering ones at that time and try to mock up and joking around it. But then, I mean, what we did with my friends, we co-founded, we founded Kayıt Dışı. It's off the record, and it was like in 2008, and we started to organize design workshops in the faculty. I mean, they're mainly not about architecture. We were inviting different and various disciplines, and we were trying to combine them with the architecture with different teams. This is from the first one. The name was displacement, and we had workshops about videos and sociological workshops, dance workshops. We ran it for 4 years, and it's also I mean, I had a chance at that time. I was like, okay, architecture is not only about construction, it's also about placemaking somehow. It's also about organizing the space with other people, and um, how to deal with the community to use and to make the change. And with Kayıt Dışı, we did also some street interventions. This is from 2012 in Istanbul, when the Taksim pedestrian project announced, and in the news they were saying the pavements will be like 1 meter long, 1 meter wide, and we just did a small intervention with cardboards and um, make this intervention to show people that the street will be like this after the project. But also, I mean, I had some other critical points in my practice. One of the important thing is architect travel grant. I had it 10 years ago. It was the anniversary of Architecture Center, and I think it was a really bold move from them. I think they were really brave at that time. Instead of making the big parties, big events to celebrate their 10th to celebrate their anniversary, they decided to make it an open call for a travel grant, and to give one student this chance, or young architect this chance, and to travel around the world. At that time, I applied to the project about pursuit of the production. I visited 8 cities, 8 countries in 1 month, and it was a really life-changing experience for me, because it's the first time I also faced with different geographies. I mean, not only in Europe, but also in China, in India, also in South America. But I mean, that is also, I mean, one of the other hats I'm going to mention about before jumping to the projects. In 2013, we established a contract. Actually, contract is a critical, I mean, it's a broadcasting tool to produce critical contents in creative fields also, and also distribute them in other media channels. We started it as a communication tool experiment to create provocative discussions, and we had a chance during the second design biennial, Istanbul Biennial, to set up a real broadcasting studio. This is, you can see on the slide. And with that, we did a lot of different online calls, different formats. We did broadcasting from the home, from the streets, and I mean, after a year, a pandemic, I'm thinking about it. It's at that time this online sessions not so popular, I would say, and we were trying to do this kind of experiments to connect other geographies from the each other. Actually, I'm gonna talk about this when I was talking about the Vardia project as well. But before that, I want to talk about Herkes için Mimarlık. Architecture for All. Actually, it's a platform we are calling, but it's an official NGO. After our graduation, I'm from Yıldız Technical University with the kayıt dışı experience. Also, we have another friends from Istanbul Technical University. They have a different experience with Ölçek 1/1. It's called Scale 1:1. They are building. They are making like community-based architecture, and they are building with their own in the village, in the rural side of Turkey. But after we graduated, we were like, okay, we don't want to work in academia, we don't want to work in the offices. What can we do? I mean, we were like 10, 15 people at the time, and we like, okay, let's find NGO, because also, if you want to do something non-profit in Turkey, this is the only way you can follow. I mean, there's no, in other countries like States or like Europe, you can also establish non-profit companies, but in Turkey you should make it as an NGO. And then the main ambition of Architecture for All, to share architecture with everyone, and also we were questioning at the time, right, to the city, the role of the architect, and also the social responsibility of architecture and design, and issues like this, that's the hegemony of architecture, how we can deal with that. And we try to, making a new narrative through designing together, building together. And when we're working, and we always collaborate with others, like NGOs, student groups, like local communities, individuals. We try to talk with everyone and involve them in the process. That's the kind of raising the awareness, also social issues, by integrating architecture, and also this involving the students in our architecture in activities really important, we think, for the social change in future. One of the long-running projects we have, revitalizing abandoned rural schools. We started like 2012. There is a huge empty huge empty school stock in Turkey. The buildings are unused, and few of them were refunctioned. And we started, we knew it, some of them, and we started to really revitalize them, or sometimes we just visit them with the project. We try to, talk with the community, what do they want for this school, and we're always trying different methodologies, but one of the main methodologies for us is an open call, and always we're calling we're making a call to call everyone to the design workshop, like discussions, and trying to make the decisions all together. But also in some small places, like in the villages, this is for example in Chaka, when we doing the site research, we try to dig the memory of the village, right? I mean, we are talking with everyone, and we found old photographs, we did a kind of a publication, we shared in the village with the people, and they can also we try to mobilize their will around the project. And each time, sometimes we couldn't build the project, but sometimes we are learning from the community, and it's always, different way of doing things. And this is also, keeping a place, keeping a place in my practice to talk with the others and try to find a way to collaborate. From there, I want to talk about the project from Herkes için Mimarlık. It's the exhibition design, and it was in Salt Beyoğlu. Actually, this is a long-run project by Marcos Cotini and Andris Brinkmanis, and they were creating the project at that time, and they invited us to make exhibition design. We were lucky at that time. I mean, there's a SALT, perhaps you might know, in Istanbul. It's one of the prominent institution in art and architecture. And as Architecture for All, we thought, okay, I mean, what we can do, because the Disobedience Archive is a kind of, also decentralized archive, and it's also, full of videos, like video archives. And we were thinking, okay, we should create a kind of, individual experience, but also there should be a common language. And also at that time, Sal told us they have an inventory of the furnitures in a storage. And we were like, okay, why not? I mean, we're just gonna check. And we went to the storage. There are like dozens of old chairs, like old furnitures, frames, and we proposed them to use in our setting. And we created small stations with yellow carpets for each video. This is a kind of intervention. I mean, this is a kind of exhibition design from us. That's you can also follow the color. I mean, we use the color as a kind of a combined, as a merging tool, but also the experience of the visitors, like they will have their own space somehow, but they're going to be part of the main room as well. And also we recycle somehow all the furnitures. This is a kind of a project. We keep the recycling as a kind of a main point. And another project from Herkes için Mimarlık, it's from the last 2 years ago. I mean, it's so funny. I don't think, I mean, I'm always forgetting we're in 2021, because somehow the 2020 just passed away. And anyway, this is from Chicago Architecture Biennial. I mean, we invited from them in 2019, and we did a project in Bronzeville, the south of Chicago. Or the name of our project is Secret Ingredients. Actually, that's a lucky coincidence. Since there's a high school in Bronzeville. It's a black neighborhood, and this high school is also abandoned. And they called us, to regenerate or to revitalize this the garden, the courtyard of the this school, because the school is already sold to someone, and he's also a very nice guy. I mean, he wants to he wants to transform the school to a incubation place, that the incubation hub. At that time, I don't know if it's going to change or not for now. But then they invited us to make a project, and the first thing we did a research in the neighborhood. We asked people what they are eating, what kind of food they're, what kind of ingredient they're using when they're preparing the food, because we are using food as a kind of a research methodology to understand the communities, how they are going to sharing the knowledge each other. To do that, I mean, in Bronzeville, we realized that they have their own cuisine. It's called soul food. It's from the slavery times. They elaborated with them each other. With that idea, we said, okay, we're gonna make a big picnic tables for the community, and we did these different heights, different. We did these picnic tables with different variations, and we also put some quotes from our interviews, and we propose to organize potluck events. I mean, it's like everybody can bring their food, they can share. It's a kind of community feeling, like the community um, community event. It works well. I mean, it's still, we're getting pictures. These tables are still there, and people are using for the other events. They have also like now as they have a fire pit, and this is one of the last project we executed before the pandemic. And I also want to mention another project because Sergio also told about the Kötü Studio. This is actually this is a funny story. This is Erdem Tüzün. He's based in New York since 10 years, and we are really close from the student time. We were doing competitions together, we were doing projects together, and we're also producing some exhibitions, some other temporary proposals. This is a proposal we did for Archivia Pavilion in Mexico City with Isaac and Erdem. And the project, I mean, they're asking for a pavilion on the garden of the Archivia Pavilion. Archivia Pavilion is here. Let me check. I mean, my mouse is not. Anyway, Archivia Pavilion is the below one, the rectangular building, and our pavilion or proposal is on the garden. They were asking for something in the garden, and at that time, this project is from 2012. I mean, almost 10 years ago. We proposed a kind of mirroring installation where we can enhance the greenery of the garden. And as you see, I mean, this is a kind of inside of the other. I mean, it's an interim area. It is not so close, it's not so surrounded, it's in its urban setting, and we were trying to make this effect with the reflecting surfaces to create an immersive experience in the greenery. And the other project we did with Erdem as a kind of a design, and so also he's also part of the associated creator team in Kerem Piker's Vardiya project. In 2015, I invited by Vitra Contemporary Architecture Series. I mean, at that time they were doing exhibitions every year about an architecture. Actually, it was a very nice project from Vitra. They were doing an exhibition. They're publishing a book. And it's like, 1 year, one team, and they were working with different architects who was working on the cultural side, also was working on the practice. And they called me in 2015 to make an exhibition, to create an exhibition about a culture. And of course, I mean, they were, and also at that time they were making books about the cultural buildings in Turkey. But I received this brief with a different approach. Let's say, I mean, when someone asked me about culture and architecture, I started to question how do architects position themselves in today's cultural world, or how do architects become part of a cultural production, and what are different ways of making architecture, because architecture is also producing a kind of knowledge and the culture. And that's why I played with this, and then I proposed an exhibition about architectural culture. It's called Caution Slippery Ground. The thing I was trying to say, the ground of architecture is so slippery, and everybody think, I mean, who thinks they're like, they're grounded, they're like standing really concrete, it's not a safe position. I mean, culture is changing, and with that ideas in design of the exhibition, we propose a landscape, as we called cultural scape of architecture. And you see, there's a kind of more there's another structure under the surfaces. This is more solid, and those one is about the symbols and rituals in architecture. What we did, we exhibited the mites of architecture. I'm going to show in the picture, and we use the surfaces for the contributions of the exhibition participants. Here you can see also the drawings. I mean, for example, here you can see one of the contribution to the exhibition from Cenk Dereli, and but also on the back of it you will see the shirts, like the shirts of architecture, like because the architects are wearing black, wearing white shirts, black shirts, and it's a kind of the mythology it's we're building around it. Or this is another image from the exhibition. This is also. And this is one of the my favorite project. It's done by Italian collective at the Suffix. They built a kind of a fictional Babel tower, and they wrote instructions on each brick, and actually visitors can take those bricks, and they can. Some of them has instructions, and you have to do it, and it's a kind of a monument of architectural mythologies. Before the Vardia, I'm gonna talk about another proposal we did in 2015 for the same place of the Pavilion of Turkey in Venice, with Elif Çiğdem Artan, Eray Çaylı, Hayrettin Günç, and Gözde Çelebi. At that time, it's a shortlisted proposal. We propose a concept about inhabiting the threshold, how we are inhabiting different levels and different groups of society, and we were trying to reveal different type of architectures, how they are inhabiting the people from their perspective. And to do that, I mean, we use the exhibition space, a kind of with zoning and areas, because we were trying to make it, this is the inhabiting threshold, but the idea is we were building an institute, is a kind of course fictional institute with different departments. And what we did, in our design proposal, we use strings. I mean, strings are like they create a different spatiality, and it's like you're carving the space, and you experience a kind of unexpected journey in that area. What I was trying to say with the institutional thing, I mean, we were trying to do some an archive and a forum in the middle, and we will have 4 different installations from the 4 different contributors to the exhibition. And what we did, we used these strings, like ropes, let's say, in the space. It's like full of ropes, and you can also actually some in Turkey it's a common use. I mean, that's when you go to the Bacha, and you will always have this this roped gateways with strings. We were trying to create this kind of ambient on the space, and also with different spatial conditions. And also it's like it will be like a dome structure, not a dome structure, but like a dome volume, I would say, where you can change and make it different spatial organizations. And this is the initial technical detail, because at that time it's just, as I told you, this is just a proposal, and we were not sure about what kind of rope we're gonna use. Is it gonna be nylon or fiber or metal structure? And the only thing we were sure at that time to use a kind of steel mesh on top of it. But actually during the years, I mean, it was in 2015, but after Vardia and then some other experience I had in Venice, it was a bit ambitious in terms of preservation and this kind of all permission things in Venice. There are some images from our proposal from the time. Here you can see the strings, like it's a kind of blurry environment. And the other projects I'm working on, this is the urban blockade atlas. It's also related to the urban surveillance methodologies and how we are dealing with the cartographical information, with mapping stuff, with mapping technologies, and how we're going to create these new geographies through or drawing tools. This is just a small glimpse from a project I did with Elif Chak. It's a commoning architecture, commoning practices in architecture and city. We did this research in Hong Kong. Maybe you are interested in, because I mean, as a hareket için mimarlık, there are also some different groups from all around the world, and I'm really curious about, you know, to see, to follow them, what kind of projects are they doing. And it was we stayed in Hong Kong for 3 weeks, and we did some interviews, some visits, and some projects with them, and also we then published a kind of publication of interviews. This is last few slides. This is also another project. There's another mobile project. It is for the democracy exhibition when first Istanbul Design Biennale, Adobe Library. It's a library which planned to run through the city, but we couldn't manage it at that time. And it's a kind of open structure for it's an open structure to be part of the swarm intelligence of the city, and it's trying to expanding knowledge whenever it's taken. Well, I mean, thank you very much. I mean, I hope you enjoyed. I mean, I know I jumped a little bit from one place to another, but I hope everything is so fruitful for you. And if you have any questions or any other inputs, or if you want to discuss something else, I'm open to talk and discuss. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yelta.